Yesterday was an unexpectedly productive day. All of my roommates were home. We were able to discuss things like basic hygiene of the house, hosting a dinner party tonight. I have not done anything in the kitchen or dining room since I moved in. They're going to be kind enough to give everything a nice, clean slate. Got a bunch of studying done. Woke up this morning. First thing I did was review what I learned yesterday. Then I went out and had what I feel is a very Israeli morning, and one that I haven't been able to have since I started here in Israel. I went shopping. It's a Friday. It's Shabbat tonight. Gotta pick up some last minute things. So, went to the wine store to get a nice bottle of wine. I found out they have Chateau Ste. Michelle Washington State Riesling. But that's imported, so it's a little more pricey. So I went for this. It's Emerald Reserve Riesling, certified kosher, Israeli. Very nice. Very cheap too. For those who want to do some money conversion, this was only 55 shekels. As well, I picked up a loaf of bread to last me, the weekend, first part of next week. Picked it up at the bakery downstairs. They slice it for you. Everything's good. Everyone's very friendly. I also picked up a challah for tonight. Got everything done before the stores would even close. So, it's a Friday. Get up a little early. Get things in order. As you can tell by the hair, I just got in from my morning errands. Now I'm going to go ahead and straighten up the house a little bit. Study. Wait for my friends to come over. Mostly my day is going to consist of studying until company shows up, and then it's going to consist of cooking up a storm. Also would like to take some time to catch up on the Israeli news. I've been kind of out of touch with that since my formal Ulpan classes ended. We used to review the news every day, and my written posts would be filled with all kinds of insight on Israeli culture, society, the news. I haven't had anything to say about it because I haven't been looking at that lately. I've just been living. I've been bumping into people, having discussions. My Hebrew's come to a point where I could talk to somebody on the bus about what they're doing in school. They say high tech, could talk about the difference between entrepreneuring, working with a big company, and even get down to what language they like to program in. All in Hebrew. The future past tense are still difficult, but I know the theory, so I can recognize it when I hear it. I'm definitely understanding a lot more than I'm able to say. I'm able, when I do written Hebrew with the computer to help me out, I'll admit, Facebook. But when I do written Hebrew with the computer to assist me, I'm able to recognize if the translation that the computer is giving me is correct or incorrect, mechanically translated, not good stuff, trying to come up with a polite way to put it. Generally, incorrect, wouldn't want to use it. Sorry about the shifting light. It's a cloudy day. The weather lately has been a lot like Seattle. Big city, lots of rain, lots of wind. I've been loving it. All the sunlight was getting me depressed. I remember how happy the plants are when it's rainy and everything's green. Anyhow, in general, things are looking really, really good. Every day I'm here in Tel Aviv is another day I feel more at home. I do want to take a look at the news. I do want to see what's going on, if we have a coalition or not. Once I've taken a look at the news, I'm probably going to make another post all about the elections and the results thereof. Personally, I think the results were not the best they could be, but definitely better than what the papers were predicting it would be. So I'm happy with the outcome, and I think it shows Israel's heading in my eyes, a positive direction. We had the second largest party to be elected, was a brand new party being headed by a journalist who spent a long time commenting on the politics, not so much participating in politics. So we have a non-politician who is a center-left person at the head of the second largest party in the Knesset. This can only be good things, either a very strong opposition or being invited to sit on the coalition and being able to hold over Bibi's head the threat of walking off the coalition at any time. And personally, I think being able to have a center-left party say, hey, you can't do this or we're going to walk and you won't have enough people to be in the majority, that is a very powerful moment for liberal Israelis to be experiencing. On the internship front, I've started coming across errors in the page when I try to access the archives. I've been given some fresh documentation to read, which I look forward to doing. Printer would really be nice about now, or some kind of ebook so I could read it not on this glowing bright display, but I don't have access to either of those, so I will make do. I'm blessed enough to have a glowing bright display. I know complaining that my display glows is definitely a first world problem. Anything else? Oh, yes, one last thing, and this is a bit of a sad note. In fact, a very sad note. I learned 2 days ago that a friend of mine, a colleague of mine, somebody who I've attended classes with and who was always bright, brilliant, and somehow managed to do the impossible thing of working in a print shop, wearing cute clothes every day, and never managing to get a spatter of ink on herself. I still don't know how she pulled that off. I mean, when I went down to the ink shop, I wore the rattiest stuff I had because I knew as much ink would end up on me as would end up on whatever I was working on. But Maya Hisamoto passed away. I don't know why. The family's not saying. I found out on Facebook as I was planning my Shabbat dinner party. I was chatting with a total stranger who's going to be a guest at my place tonight. Her name's Carrie. My friend Manya, who you've never heard mentioned before because I met her last weekend when I was staying over at Bryn's place. Great person. Manya is someone who I'm very sad to see leave Israel tomorrow. But Manya figured we'd get along. Carrie's lived here for years and will continue living here for years, so it's getting to know a local. So she wanted to introduce us at Shabbat. She was chatting with me, chatting with Carrie, pulled us together into the same window. Now, in the middle of doing this planning, I'm hit like a sock to the stomach. Honestly, I've never had the pleasure of hanging out with Maya outside of class. We'd planned on it. Numerous times we'd planned on it, but stuff tended to come up, especially during art and religious practices. My fiance was not in the best of health, and pretty much any social plans made during that time would get blasted aside. Reasonably blasted aside because, I had to take the woman I love, the woman who I now plan on marrying. I would have to take her to the hospital, so making extracurricular plans during that point in my life was difficult. Any extra time I had, I put into Hillel, and it still wasn't putting enough time into Hillel. So we didn't get to hang out then. And she was a joy to sing with in choir. But again, at that point, life was busy. Her passings made me realize that I need to seize what moments I have to enjoy with people because I might not have more. Every moment I shared with her, though, she was bright and insightful. And I guess you could say all in. She was committed, and I admire that. She didn't hedge. She said what she thought, did what she thought, and sang what she thought. And the world was made more beautiful for her presence. I'm impressed by the kindness some people have towards strangers. Carrie, Manya's friend, sat with me on the computer 3 hours listening to me, talking with me, all via typing. It was very slow for me. Typing is not my best medium. She put up with my typos and my slow responses and all of that. Nobody at that hour, nobody from back home was on. Everybody works. I love it. My friends are growing up. Most of them are out of college and in the real working world. It's great, except when something happens to me in the middle of the night here, there's no one to talk to. And this person, this human being, this stranger, just gave me an ear. Even invited me over, but it turns out it would have been 2 buses in over an hour and a 40 shekel taxi back, or a 40 shekel taxi there and a 40 shekel taxi back. So neither of those were really options, but the kindness in inviting somebody who you've never met over just because they're going through a hard time. There are good people in the world, and I haven't met all of them yet, and I look forward to crossing paths with more in the future. I think that's the point I was trying to get at. Okay, I'm going to put this together, post it up, send it off to my professor, who hopefully I'm going to get to finally touch base with. Hello, Sam. Hopefully I'm going to get a chance to touch base with Sunday morning Oli time, so I think that's Saturday night my time. I'll double check. But also, to everybody who does have my Skype information, I have a solid internet connection. If I'm home, my Skype is up. Basically functions like a landline phone. Use it, use it, use it. I miss you all. Anyhow, there's been happy stuff, there's been sad stuff, and please comment. Let me know if this day-to-day thing's working for you. I know it's working for me. It's ritualizing the documentation process. And I know, Sam, you're probably going to want, after the end of all of this, at the end of the quarter, you're probably going to want a paper about, adapting to the city, comparing and contrasting city life to kibbutz life, something of that sort. I will happily do that. Anyhow, gotta sign off, edit this, and get it up to all of you. Take care, everybody, and Shabbat Shalom.